Welcome back, everybody, to FTLG Marathon. That was a fantastic run we just saw, but we're on to another one. Here we go with Danejerus with Redguard Legacy for Doom 2016. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. My name is danejerus. You might have heard my voice last night. I was, in fact, sitting where Meta's sitting right now on the hosting desk, but now I'm back, and we're going to watch me do a run this time. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to go ahead and hit space. We're going to jump into the game. There's like a 38-second cutscene, something like that. And then we're going to start down. We're going to count down the timer. The timer's going to start right as the cutscene ends, right when I get the pistol and I start blowing zombie heads off. So, thank you all for tuning in and for watching the marathon. We've raised a good chunk of money so far. I think we're at like, what, 3,020 pounds or something like that now?
Yeah, 3,015.
15,
Can
nice.
we get in another 5?
Maybe we can. All right, time starts in 3, 2, 1, and go. So I'm going to start by shooting these 3 zombies. I'm going to fire the pistol a couple times to kind of stop this animation from playing out. And then we have to sit through this little short cutscene. And there's this character right here. Meta, is this character like significant at all, do you think?
Yeah. Jeez, she seems really familiar.
I feel like there's like some sort of significance to that character, I think, in some way. Anyways, so we're going to grab the suit, and this is a 1 minute and 6 second cutscene. So while we're waiting for that, I was told we had a special guest today. Meta, is that true? Do we have a special guest today?
We do. Everybody, please welcome Abby Craden. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Abby, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Abby Craden. So nice to be with you all. I'm here today. Maybe I should talk like this. Maybe that's better for you.
Ooh, I'm getting chills. Oh, that's giving me chill. Yes, so for those of you that do not know, Abby Craden here is the voice of Dr. Olivia Pierce in this very game. She is the villain of the story. Unlike Sam, who we will find out is in fact not the villain of this story as we play a little further into the game. But yeah, this is awesome. Thank you again, Abby, for sitting on the couch and watching the run today. I hope I can blow your mind with some of the stuff you're going to see.
I can't wait to see it. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Are you familiar with speedrunning at all? Like, have you seen this kind of thing being done before?
No, never.
Oh,
you're in for a ride.
Yeah, you're in for a treat. All right, so this is supposed to act as a tutorial section. However, we turn the tutorials off so we can literally just kind of run through all these zombies. We're going to pick up the shotgun, and then we have to go through a fight. Now, this upcoming fight, you can actually skip it. However, it is not allowed to skip this fight in this particular category because this category is restricted. There's some glitches that are not going to be allowed. However, not all glitches are off limits in this category, and so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But for right now, I just need to make sure that I kill these guys as quickly as possible. Those first 2 imps are super consistent with their spawn points, and the rest are more or less random. I need to get them out of the way. They're going to cause problems later. So a lot of this just boils down to kind of dispatching everything as quickly as you can. No real fancy stuff with this. This is supposed to serve as the tutorial for the game to kind of teach you, hey, there's gonna be combat, there's gonna be fighting, and so we gotta show you how that's gonna work. So they stick you in a room with a bunch of imps, which are the worst enemy in the game for many reasons, and we could probably tell you stories about why. They're just running around.
There's always an imp.
Yeah, it's always an imp's fault. And then oh, here's that significant character again. So like we were talking about before, you can actually skip that fight, and it's actually not even very difficult to do so, but it requires using tech that is banned in this category. So we've split the leaderboard up across what we call Legacy and Classic. Classic is unrestricted. You can do whatever you want as long as it's not like literally cheating. But in our Legacy category, we restrict the use of certain glitches, certain little speed tech, and those were things that I was going to show off as part of a glitch exhibition, which was a donation incentive, which I think we met like 6 hours into the marathon or something like that. Like 6 hours in, and we already had met the glitch incentive. So y'all are going to get to see some of the nutty stuff that happens in this game in some of the unrestricted categories. We do have to explain what is restricted, but some of you are probably wondering, what the heck is Redguard? It's not any percent, it's not 100%, it's not 50%. What the heck is it? Meta, what the heck is it?
What the heck is it? All right, Redguard is a little something in between. So we split the categories into any percent, New Game Plus, which is another mode. We also have All Secrets, and we have Redguard. Oh, and 100%, of course. Redguard is, there's these Praetor soldiers that are in the game, and they're all passed away, unfortunately. But we get to take their tokens, and we get to upgrade our kit with them. And so basically this category is just running through the game, and we do beat it as well, but we're grabbing each of those tokens. So it allows us to do some interesting routing, especially in the classic category, but with this one as well, where we need to, we're not just finding the straightest path to the end of the level, because we need to go out of our way to find these Redguards.
Yeah, it makes for some pretty interesting routes. Like, we have a straight legacy category, which would be kind of like your any percent restricted, quote unquote. And there's some interesting stuff in that, but being that we have to collect these tokens first, we have to go out of our way to grab them. So this is our first one. We have to sit through this animation in some cases, but in other cases, we can actually just grab start the animation and then reload checkpoint. That saves about 4 seconds every time we do that. We're gonna grab one of only 2 weapon drones, I think, in the whole game. I'm used to grabbing all of them because my main category is 100%. So I'm not used to grabbing only 2 of them. Now, there's a fight coming up here that we are supposed to do, or at least the developers wanted us to, but if you do some careful maneuvering and jump onto some of these platforms and jump over these boxes, you can actually bypass the trigger line. So this door's supposed to be locked right now. I'm supposed to kill the guys behind me. We're not going to do that. We're just going to end the level there. And
that's trickier than it looks as well.
Yeah, that's actually hard to do.
Trigger. There's an invisible trigger there that is supposed to lock the door, but you can do some precise movement and get around it. So, so Abby, after watching the first level completed within 5 minutes, do you have any questions?
Oh, well, probably a million, but it's
fire them all off.
I've never played the game. I'm not a gamer, so it's really it's so cool to watch it. It's a very different experience, and doing the voice work for it. So it's neat to get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have a comparison of how hard that was. How hard was that to do?
Dangerous makes it look pretty easy, but it's definitely not.
All right, so we're supposed to actually watch a cutscene with the good doctor herself, but we are going to actually skip that cutscene by doing some kind of some tricky maneuvering and platforming, and so this is totally legal, by the way. I mean, the categories restricts tech. It doesn't restrict going out of bounds entirely, and so you can actually skip that whole cutscene. That saves about 40 seconds, give or take. Now, this fight, unfortunately, you can't skip unless you down patch the game, which we are not going to do for... Oh, come on, fire. Oh, this is not going well.
That's okay. Do we have time for a donation?
We do. Go for it.
I've got a very silly one here. We seem to have a theme going on where people would like me to do impressions, and I promise you, I am not a voice actor. I'm just a host. I just like playing video games and doing stuff for charity. So these impressions are nowhere near good, but I will do my best, I promise. So we have a £5 donation from Shrek.
Oh no.
Who says, oh boy, here we go. Fortnite Battle Pass is like an onion. It has layers, donkey, layers. Thank you, Shrek.
That's pretty good.
For the £5. Thank you.
I like that impression. That was a great impression. Shrek, you did a great impression. I really like that impression. That was very good. All right, so this is what we call skate park skip. The developers called this that gore nest down there skate park, which I think is really funny because that's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. And one of our community members, Bite Me, actually found a way to bypass that by, again, just jumping onto some really weird geometry. You can skip the whole fight. Now, in Legacy, we'd actually be going straight through that yellow door, but because this is Redguard, we have to go back to get all the tokens. I mistimed that incredibly badly. These, by the way, we call them death metal singers because they are obnoxiously too loud. Like, so much louder than anything else in the game for some reason. So this is our second Redguard token.
Yeah, so you might be looking at that. We kind of discussed this already, but I'll go a bit more in depth. You may be like, what the even heck is going on here? There's a lot of glitches happening. Sort of, yes. This game has a lot of glitches, and they're all good ones. But
well, not all
with
of
this
them
category, not all of them, but a lot of them are pretty good. It makes
are.
for a fun 80% category. But with the legacy rule set, we basically did as best as we could to have a solid rule set that would still be, we'd be able to actually moderate.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to moderate things like going out of bounds, things like that. And so we don't actually, restrict that. What we do is we restrict a lot of the tech that allows you to get out of bounds. So trust me, you may look at this and be like, wow, this run's, kind of broken.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
You've seen
you
nothing.
ain't seen nothing. Yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna treat y'all to a good time when we get to the glitch exhibition at the end of this run. And the estimate that I gave myself for this was actually pretty generous. So we'll likely, unless something goes like horribly wrong, we will likely have a good chunk of time at the end of it all to showcase that stuff. And I'll give you all also my own little incentive. If we can meet a certain goal, and I'll tell you what that is at the end of this level, because we've got a 2.5 minute cutscene that we have to sit through. I'll give y'all an incentive to keep donating for, by the time we get to the last level, you can get a little extra something for your donations if you get those in.
So Abby, I do have a question. While we're sitting here without the gameplay. So obviously this game is a few years old now, and conditions in the world have changed. We have a global pandemic now, which I imagine changes the voice acting quite a bit. Were you, when you were working on this project, were you at home or were working in the studio? Like, what has sort of changed for you as a voice actress, since working on this project in particular?
When I worked on this, I went to a studio, so that was great. I did a few sessions on it with the director and everybody. What happened with the pandemic was all the voice work that I used to do at studios, basically they kind of figured out workarounds so we could do it from our home studios, or sometimes they created these kits we'd pick up at like different studios, and so they would have a feed where they could control the sounds. So they'd either give us a microphone, or they go into our microphone, like on a DSL line kind of thing, and record us from there, or we'd record ourselves and send it in. So I did a few games from home, which I had never done before and probably would never do unless, those circumstances happened. It was really weird. It's hard.
Right.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
You have your dog barking and all the other things going on.
You got the
helicopters flying. So
do you have an in-home studio, or is it like blanket and a microphone and is it?
No, I have an in-home studio. I have a
Nice.
I have a booth, because I do a lot of audiobooks, so I do all my books pretty much from home. So a lot of things didn't change for me, but definitely like games where you always went to a studio and always had directors. That changed. But I actually got to go work at a few studios, but they had these very intense protocols. So they would like spray the room down, and you'd have to wear a mask and only take it off when you were at the mic. And it was like you bring your own water bottle. It was a whole different sort of set of circumstances when I did it. So yeah.
Right. So pre-pandemic, obviously it's not quite an option now, but pre-pandemic, were you able to work with other voice actors, or is it sort of like an individual thing, like when you're in the studio?
It's totally individual. You go in and they have a screen, and sometimes the director will kind of feed the dialogue to you so you can understand what you're responding to, because you don't really get any context because they can't show you the script. Right. It's all under an NDA. So, you're like, what's happening? And they tell you, and then a good director will feed it to you so you have someone to act with, but you're basically acting alone.
That must be so difficult. I feel like it would be important to have, the other person to sort of bounce off of. I mean, I suppose if you have the director who's feeding you the lines, but even then, that must be incredibly difficult.
I was actually going to ask that same question. How did you work with, were you able to work with Darren DePaul directly during the whole thing, or was it just you were on your own? So that's got to be a challenge.
It is. We're kind of used to it. It's only like when you do animations, you get to actually be in a room together and with each other. With games, you're always by yourself. So we're kind of used to it, but the script gives you intentions with every line. So it's like you kind of get how they want you to do them, what's going on. They'll describe, the context of the story, but you don't get to talk to anybody. No.
It's got to make it more challenging, I bet.
It is. Games have their own, challenge to them. But I was a theater actor for years, and I think like being a classical theater actor and being able to do sort of like the big, scope of games comes kind of easily when you've done those kind of things like Shakespeare and stuff like that. So it's a good background to have. Probably
the British accent for Olivia Pierce helped, if you had Shakespeare as a background, I imagine.
Yes, I have studied accents. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Right, so I'm going to do go for it.
Go right ahead, Dane.
I was going to say, I was just going to set up for a little glitch tech that I was going to do. That's totally legal for this category. This is Frank, by the way. Everybody say hi to Frank. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Frank's not having a great day. Frank had his skin seared off. I'm going to line up in a very specific spot. I want to trigger this door, but I don't want to trigger the enemies behind it just yet. I'm going to wait until the checkpoint load thing pops up, and then I'm going to reload checkpoint. Now, this is going to lock in some of the spawn points behind this door. Now, I'm going to run through here, trigger the mod swap animation, and then grab the drone. Now, there's supposed to be an animation where I punch the drone. You might have remembered seeing that from last level. However, didn't do that. Because of a glitch called animation canceling. I am doing Legacy right now. I'm not supposed to do that. I jumped to the wrong spot.
That's a tricky thing when you're running this game. I'm sure it applies to other games as well. But when you're used to running multiple different categories under different rule sets, sometimes your muscle memory will take over and you'll start doing something from another category.
And I run like 5 categories in this game, so my brain is constantly like a bit of a jello bowl trying to figure out, wait, what's the next thing I have to do?
Do we have time for one more donation?
We do. Go for it.
Okay. Number 1, Ryan, donates £10, and their message says, I hope this run isn't too dangerous.
Of course not.
This is one of, I was going to say one of the few. I actually don't remember how many of the fights in this game are like 100% predictable, but this one definitely is, and it creates a very satisfying arena fight where you know exactly where every single enemy is going to spawn, and you're just prepared. Very satisfying.
It makes it very easy because we have 3 different kinds of spawn patterns in this game. We have fixed, random, and influence, and influence doesn't happen too often, but there's a couple of arenas that we'll see later in the game where that tends to be more predominant. And usually it's like you just get a mix of different spawn types. So trying to... some of these are fixed, and so I know roughly where they're going to spawn, but by this point in the fight, I'm kind of just doing it at random. Like, wherever I see an enemy, I'm just going to go for it. And the problem is some of these cycle the fight, some of them don't. So I have to like remember which ones cycle and which ones don't, and I just lose them all. So I just kill everything like a proper Doom Slayer would. Okay, I didn't need to kill that one. Go ahead, Meta.
What's that?
Oh, you were gonna say something, and I totally cut you off because I couldn't hear over the fight. Oh, sir, please.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this glitch exhibition. I hope we can... Or we did meet that already.
We met it within like 6 hours of the marathon starting. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that because, obviously in the casual playthrough and even in this category, we are killing a lot of demons. We are the Doom Slayer after all. But the glitches in this game that we can do, very cool glitches, basically let us do like a pacifist run. It's not full pacifist yet. Actually, it's a project. It's a project we've been working on for 4 years now.
Since release, pretty much,
to basically try and get a pacifist Doom game, which is definitely not the intended way to play. But hey, you know what? It's interesting.
So yeah, the category is relatively arbitrary, but it was kind of theorized a long time ago by one of our OG runners, Whitehound, who kind of made this theory. It's actually, he came up with it before I even showed up in the community and was running this game myself. He had theorized it, and we had like this whole channel in the Discord that went totally unused. And I was like looking at it, and one of the skips that he found in there actually ended up being usable in 100% a lot later on. Nice, I got the animation skip there. Oh, and the door is locked. Please, door, thank you. And so when we created a category extension leaderboard later on, I was like, ooh, we might be able to put Redguard on there. And so for a good long while, like a year and a half, we had Redguard on the category extension boards. And then we got a couple more runners for it, and some of the other moderators were like, should we just add this to the main game leaderboard? And people were like, yeah, let's do that. So we added it to the main game leaderboard. So now, now our hard work is being recognized on the main board. This is another fixed spawn fight. Now, one of the mechanics that they add to this level that we don't really need to worry about in this category is combat rating, which is tracked in the upper left corner. Now, you'll notice that it's grayed out, and that's because it's glitched right now. Is one of the natural kind of byproducts of doing the route that we do is we skip a couple of enemies that unfortunately lock the combat rating out. And this is a bit of a problem in categories like 100% Ultra Nightmare, where we can't fix it by reloading checkpoint. We just have to kind of like, you know, reset and, oh well. Yeah, it was giving me a little bit of trouble. There we go. And this is another fight where all the spawns are fixed. I can't quite dispatch everything fast enough, like automatically as it spawns in, but I can get most of them pretty quickly. I'm going to skip an animation here by just aiming down. I missed. Shoot.
And will we be seeing the cutscene after this?
Oh yeah, we have to see the cutscene. There's a cutscene after this, which you can skip in the unrestricted categories, but sadly, we have to watch it in Legacy. Although today it'll actually be a treat because we'll have the lady herself here to commentate on this. So yeah, normally you can actually skip out of here by climbing up onto that platform and just kind of wiggling your way out of bounds, but that is not allowed in this category. That is what I mean about reloading checkpoint. Sometimes we'll grab a token and then reload checkpoint, and we can actually grab that token again, but the game has considered us to have picked it up, at least in the menu, and so we don't need to.
Yeah, fun fact, you can actually duplicate these tokens this way, but of course, that would just totally ruin this category, and so that's banned from this category. That's
banned from this category. But we have the good doctor herself here. And this cutscene, so there's supposed to be a UI that is displayed. However, it only actually displays properly about, what, maybe 5% of the time?
Yeah.
And the other 95%, she's just miming with the lockdown screen. And it's like...
Maybe it's a one-way, you know?
But you can see it the other times. So I'm curious, do you remember like recording this section at all?
I do a little bit, yeah. I mean, I feel like I went in for maybe 3 sessions, so we did different things every time. But yeah, my favorite part was the burning in hell. You're on fire and you're being burned to death. You're like, okay.
Yeah, I believe
I don't think it's this section.
Yes, we will see that. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay. I'm not skipping that cutscene. Yeah. We're gonna watch that cutscene. I would never.
Yeah, normally we would. Sorry, we wouldn't skip this cutscene in this category because it's banned. But yeah, normally we would skip these cutscenes because they're fast, and that's kind of the goal. But you know what? For this showcase, I think we could listen.
We can. Corey actually asked a great question that I had been meaning to ask as well. When you were recording for the game, did they do any motion capture with you, or did they just do your vocals for it?
They just did my vocals for it.
They just did vocals.
Motion capture. Yeah.
So this is the first time you're going to actually see the out of bounds in this game. We haven't gone out of bounds yet because getting out of bounds in the other levels requires using banned tech. However, this level you can just go out of bounds by literally jumping at a wall. Like, it's actually not even difficult to do at all.
Yeah, so this is sort of what I was talking about how we can't really enforce going out of bounds within, like a rule set that everybody has to abide by, because you can kind of just get out of bounds here with regular movement, aka, running, jumping, and using the recoil from the explosion of the micro missile, which is a creative way to get out of bounds, but very much an intended mechanic in the game with an unintended result. Mm-hmm. So it's more of an exploit rather than a glitch. And that's why this. So, fun fact. So I started this category with Dangerous 3 years ago. Sorry, like not this category. Yeah. This rule set 3 years ago. Yeah. And so it was it's gone through a couple different phases. It started off as what we dubbed no RBGK, which stands for no rail boost and no glory kills.
Well, no glory kill clips.
No glory kill clips. Yes. And I would explain that, but I think we'll go a bit more in depth on that when we do the glitch exhibition.
Yeah, you'll see it in the glitch exhibition.
We named it No Major Glitches, and at the time it was somewhat fitting because there wasn't really any major glitches. But as you can see now, there's stuff that is in the category, and we're just like, well, that's not very in the spirit of the category, is it? And so we've dubbed it Legacy, and the idea behind the name Legacy is that this is sort of what the run looked like back in 2016. When there wasn't a lot of tech discovered. And so it's kind of, an older route.
And it's something a little bit more akin to what console runners would have been able to run back in the day, like yes. before frame rate busted everything open.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing as well, is some of the tricks in this game, or quite a few of them actually, are dependent on your frame rate. And of course, consoles are locked at 60 frames per second, and PCs are not. They're locked at 200. And so in order to be a bit more fair, this category was created, and consoles can be more competitive in this category as compared to the any percent category, which has you just blast through the game, all glitches allowed, all exploits, anything goes.
Just FYI, that was a gold split, by the way.
Very nice.
Gold split live at the marathon.
That's pretty incredible. For anyone who doesn't know what a gold split is, that means that is the fastest that Dangerous has ever completed that level. So GG there.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna do our last upgrade of the whole thing. We're not gonna really do any more upgrades from this point forward, at least as far as the suit's concerned. Oh God, I am in a bad spot. Can I save this? Oh my God, first try. Let's go.
Let's go!
Don't be deceived. That is actually a really hard skip. It's not hard, but it's just very inconsistent.
It's hard enough I never did it in runs, and you just did it at a marathon, so... Yeah.
Well, I did it because I watched Dizzy do it, and he just kind of jumped at the wall and landed there, and I was like, oh, it's actually not terribly hard to do, so I decided I'd go for it, and once I tried it a couple times, it was like, oh, it's actually not bad. You get bounced off the wall a few times, but it's not actually that bad.
It's interesting discussing the difficulty in this game, because whether you're talking about the execution of glitches or the execution of combat, when you're talking about hard, everything in this game is hard. So when we say something is easy, it's like, oh, it's not as hard.
Yeah. Yeah, this game's not exactly very beginner-friendly for speedrunning purposes. There's a couple categories that aren't too bad for it, but it's really not a great game for beginners. Okay, I finally actually got onto that platform this time.
But it is very rewarding.
It's very rewarding once you actually get a good run with everything.
Time for some donations?
Go for it.
All right. We have 20 pounds from Hellgraph Dragon, who leaves no message. Thank you for your donation. Appreciate that. We also have some guy Blaine, who donated £6.66, and their message is less than 3.
Nice. And thank you both for your donations. If we hit 3,200, by the way, by the time this runs over, I'll wear this during the last level. And not only that, I won't even do the first skip. I'll do the fight, so you can watch the fight with the helmet on. So there's your incentive. We hit 3,200 by the end of the run. What are we at right now?
We are currently at 3,000 pounds, 51 and 66.
32
pence, I think it is.
Pence, yeah. 32, and you'll get the helmet. All right. So the funny thing about this level is there's actually not really many very lockdown sections. The first section was actually locked down, on purpose, but we skipped it by doing that very tricky platforming. That fight back there is actually not locked down. You can just run right past it, and that's exactly what we did. The next coming fight is locked down. However, there's a little chunk of tech that we can take advantage of that allows us to skip it. It's called Banana Skip, and you'll see why momentarily. Also, we're going to meet a new enemy right here. There's this running gag in my channel. Whenever we meet this enemy, I press, we call it the Big Chungus button, because Big Chungus.
He's a big boy.
He also looks like one of my coworkers from back in the day. Don't tell him I said that, though. Alright, so you're supposed to do this fight here, but so with this platforming, I may actually be able to get this first cycle. No!
Yeah, so this skip is... if you take a look at what we're doing platforming on right now, these yellow things, they look exactly like a banana. And so I believe it was Lifelike back in 2017 or so, dubbed the skip Banana Skip because they look like bananas. And it's about as simple as that.
There we go. Yeah, so you can see they look like big bananas. And that lets you skip that whole fight. You don't even need to fight them. Now there is going to be there's two other fights that are locked down. One of them is you can actually skip it using some of the banned tech we talked about earlier, but there's other ways to skip that fight that you wouldn't even actually get into that arena in the first place. So it's one of those weird things where it's like, here's a skip, but you can't really do it in any category. It's not useful. And there's a bunch of those as we've gone. I'm gonna wait for this. You can actually get up here without needing to wait for this thing to open, but it's kind of tricky, and I've been failing it a lot lately.
And yeah, it turns out after, playing a game for 6 years, you learn quite a few things about it, and you find some interesting things. By no means is this game casually a broken game, unless you're playing at 200 frames per second, in which case you might get a few nifty glitches here and there, but casually this game is a masterpiece, and it's very well built. It's just that, after 6 years, we found a couple things.
I'm always annoyed by these revenants because they move around, and so projectile stuff tends to be a little bit less effective. My hit scan stuff is faster, but it's also... These guys are giving me a lot of trouble. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. Okay, these guys are actually like... By the way, I'm playing on easy mode, just so you all know. Eating a rocket in the face apparently is bad for you no matter what difficulty you're on.
Oh yeah, I suppose that's something to talk about as well, is difficulty selection for categories. So we do have... we've split the leaderboard by difficulty, but not for every difficulty, and I'll explain why. Obviously, the easiest difficulty is the fastest one, and so you'll often see speedruns on the easiest difficulty just because we're going for pure speed. But there is some, there's some people out there who like running the more difficult categories, like permadeath, which is called Ultra Nightmare. Danejerus here has run 100% Ultra Nightmare, which has you complete the entire game, all secrets, all challenges, everything, on Ultra, which is permadeath, and on the hardest difficulty. And so there is categories like that as well.
I missed the cycle, so we have to wait for the we have to wait for it to carry us around. You can actually jump across. I've done it. I'm scared. I'm scared of it. It's very scary because sometimes he just doesn't grab it, or you'll get just body blocked by some weird piece of geometry.
Yeah, especially at a marathon.
Go ahead. Oh.
I was just gonna say, especially at a marathon, it's
yeah, not a good idea. So we're actually, I didn't lose any time there because we're on a cycle-based system here. There's supposed to be a hallway that we run through, but we can take advantage of a little bit of tech if we just time this correctly. We can get a big old jump that lets us skip about a 20-second section, I think, something like that. That is the final Redguard token for this level, so now we could just head straight to the end.
And yeah, that jump with the elevator, by the way, is really tricky. I don't know exactly even why it works. I mean, I get the general idea, but the timing of it is very precise for some reason.
Oh, we didn't get the grenade glitch here. I was hoping we'd get that.
But yeah, basically you're taking the momentum of the elevator, and then you put in a jump input, and it sort of translates your jump into this like big jump. But you can't just press space at any old time. It has to be at like a specific moment. And personally, I don't know about you, Dane, but I have no idea why it's that specific moment. Maybe you have some insight into that?
It just has to do with how the game measures your y-axis velocity at any given moment. It's very... I don't know the full breakdown of it. I just know it has to do with your velocity and how jump inputs are registered when your momentum is being tracked in game.
Also, hi, bye, Olivia.
Yeah, hi, bye, Olivia. Olivia, we could have shot her right then and there and made this game a lot shorter, but for whatever reason, the Slayer decided to just stand there and let her do that.
Boom, credits. But then we never visit Hell. That's no fun.
That's true. And we wouldn't get to fight the final boss, the final iteration.
Yes.
Okay, so I was waiting for... I actually grabbed this late. I'm hoping that doesn't affect anything. I actually couldn't hear the facility voice. Very easily so. Alright, so there's a little developer oversight where if you grab the invulnerability and you just jump down the tower, you can actually get back down here pretty easily. And so that lets us get this... they're called Argent Cells. We call them Dragon Balls as kind of a running gag. Just like anytime we talk about them in the community, we talk about, okay, we go here, get the Dragon Ball, turn around, go get the token. It's just kind of become this little colloquial joke for the rest of us.
Yeah, we have a lot of shorthand for everything, and so we're trying to translate into a marathon safe language. But
Dragon Ball is fun though.
Yeah. Dragon Balls, yeah.
So now we are in what is technically purgatory, but we all kind of just refer to this as hell. Because it looks like hell. Now, I need to get to that skull switch up there, so I'm just gonna... line up properly, and then I'm just gonna grab it. Meta, you want to explain that one?
Okay, so this is called an extendo grab, and it's basically exactly what it sounds like, and it has been in this engine. It's not a game-specific glitch, it's actually an engine glitch, since, I believe, idTech 5, which was Rage 1, if
idTech 5 was Rage 1, yes. And then idTech 6 was this one.
And so, yeah, it was first discovered in idTech 5, which is Rage. This game is made on idTech 6, and it is also in this game. It is actually also on idTech 7 in Doom Eternal,
kind of,
but it's not exactly the same, and it's not really as useful. There's a lot more glitches in that game. But yeah, extender grabbing. Basically, you spam. I believe it's the weapon mod button, right?
Yep.
I always get it confused with a different mind. So yeah, basically you're spamming the weapon mod button. And I don't know this for sure, obviously, but my theory is that because it works with any like zoom mod, the zooming with the pistol and the zooming with the heavy assault rifle, I think it just sort of teleports the camera like close to the object for like a frame or something like that.
Something like that.
And so for like a frame or two, you're able to grab objects from the camera rather than from where the Slayer is. So you can grab things from like 10 feet away.
This is another one of those really broken levels, kind of like a level Argent Facility where we just sort of like got out of bounds. And the out of bounds lets us do the same thing here. Now, the second token we grabbed, we would have normally reset checkpoint afterward. However, we went out of our way a little bit so that we could get what I call the delete button. It is a mod for the Gauss cannon, which we picked up at the end of the tower, and this mod is extremely unfair. The demons no longer stand a chance. Not that they had much of one to begin with, but now I'm having... Okay, I can't get up here for some reason. There we go. Oh, of course, the hard part I actually get first try. All right.
So while Dane's messing up with this, Abby, do you have like sort of a favorite line from this game, if you can remember?
Oh boy, it's been a long time.
Or a conversation. It's been a few years, but... And if you don't, that's totally fine.
I do remember like the hell. I mean, that was really fun to do. It was really challenging.
Yeah.
You know, when you're being asked to like feel like you're being burned alive, like in a vat of acid. You know, it was fun to act that section.
For that, what do you remember? What the context? Like, is that basically just the context? And it was like you're basically just being burned alive.
Yes. bigger, yeah. You have to kind of get yourself in the situation so it feels real. So, you know, you recall the days that
because we've all had that happen before.
Yeah,
because we've all been burning in acid.
Common experience.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
This thing is giving me. There we go. Dino grabbing can sometimes be inconsistent no matter how you set it up. Oh, come on. There we go.
If there was another Doom game, would you work on it?
Yeah, I absolutely would. I can do a line for you. I have I'm looking at something actually.
Oh,
I could do it with my Olivia voice. Yes.
Absolutely. Give it to us.
Please do.
All right. I believe in honesty, especially now. And what will be your final moments in this world? All the rumors, the human sacrifices, the hell portal, the demons. It's all true. My sisters and brothers, be thankful. You will be the first.
That gave me chills.
Yeah,
that was
chills
awesome.
Too.
That's over the PA in Arc Complex, right?
No,
I think
that's the cutscene we skipped in Red Hop.
Is it?
We
Okay,
skipped
I get them all confused.
So we still got treated to it anyway. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that. That was awesome.
That was great.
We do also have a question from the chat if you're interested in that.
Sure.
Do you ever find, this is a question from Westy Wind, do you ever find yourself doing your character's voices, such as at a grocery store when you're thinking out loud?
I would say no, but I do listen to people's accents. I love accents. So whenever I'm out and about, if I hear somebody, I'm like I kind of, you know, somewhere in my mind, I take notes, or I'm like, that's not, find that character. But
That's interesting.
I'm a little shy. Like, I'm not one of those actors that just bursts into like accents. So, you know, I kind of do it when I'm working.
Right. Yeah. My mom is not a voice actress, but she works at a dentistry, and so she has this really embarrassing thing for me. It's embarrassing for me. I'm sure she loves it, but she always like studies people's teeth, even when she first meets them. Like, that's one of the first things she looks at. I'm like, Mom, come on. So
she's like an expert.
Yeah, exactly. So do you find yourself like sort of like critiquing people's voices, even just regular conversation, or analyzing them at least, or acknowledging?
Oh, absolutely. Especially bad voices. Like if someone's got a really nasal, or I'm like, oh my God, that voice, you know? Yeah, I'm definitely tuned to that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pit stop for ammo real quick because I'm like running low. Now this level actually just like literally while I was de-rusting this category, there was a fight that we had to do originally, and then one of our community members, Darve, was like, I'm gonna find a way around this fight. And I said, good luck, because I haven't been able to find one. And about 10 minutes later, he found that you can climb this lamppost, and then that skips a like 1 minute fight and gets us right to here. And we still get to do what I call the spicy skip. So this is my favorite Gauss jump in probably the whole game. We're gonna line up, get right onto this rail, and land right here on this platform. I love that skip so much. That one is just so much fun. But yeah, that skips a very long fight sequence that we before we had to go through in order to get through a door nearby. But now we don't. Now we don't need to do that. That saves a good chunk of time. So there's still a very good chance this could gold split if everything goes. Oh! Not if I do things like that though.
And yeah, I'd like to give a big shout out to just the Doom community in general is amazing, but especially a big shout out in the context of Doom 2016 to Darve, Cyberline Horizon, Knight, Bad Omen, a lot of the people who have come around, you know, in the last year or so, have really breathed a bit of fresh air into the Doom speedrunning community. So shout outs to you guys. You guys are awesome.
All right, so we had to go out of our way to get a few of the Redguard tokens. Now that we are at the end of the level, though, we can... Oh, All right, I'm going to kill that Cacodemon to hit a checkpoint, because sometimes this skip can be very not nice. So we're going to get up here. Now, there's a fight on this helipad, but if you do some tricky jumps, this door stays unlocked, and you can walk right through and not have to fight anything.
Yeah, so this one's pretty similar to the UAC fight skip that we did, about 30 minutes ago now, so I'll forgive you if you don't remember. But basically, we're doing some precise movement to jump over some triggers that will spawn the fight and lock the door. And this one's even harder than the UAC. I think you have to do 2 jumps that are of equal difficulty to the 1 jump.
Yeah, give or take. I mean, they're about the same, at least to me.
Well, you're just really good, so...
Oh, well, thank you. All right, so we just need to get these guys taken out as fast as possible. Fun fact, you can actually... Nice. You can actually get into this tram without having to do this fight and open this door. But again, you can't push buttons through doors or walls in this category. It's not allowed, so we had to actually fight them, which isn't a huge time loss, and it leads to us being able to get that level done very, very quickly. Even having to do that fight. So now we get to the advanced research complex, and this level. Meta, you love this level, right? This level's great in every category.
You know what? I will say, I appreciate this level. I'll say that. But man, it is difficult and lengthy in every category.
Yeah.
Even in any percent, which has us complete the game from start to finish. No holds barred. It's still quite a bit longer than the rest of the levels, and in the context of any percent, that's like a few minutes. But yeah, it's tricky.
And the level is terrible in every category, all for different reasons. Like in any percent, you have very difficult tech that you have to do. I forgot I'm going to the bathroom here, so we have to go to the bathroom just to get into this ceiling vent. We have to mess with the HVAC system. So we in any percent, you've got this really precise skips that you have to set up in order to get to the end of the level really quickly. And 100%, you have to deal with combat rating, which is programmed extremely poorly. We've killed a bunch of demons so far, and you'll notice there's absolutely no combat rating achieved in the upper right corner. And that is because combat rating is not tracked on anything that isn't killed in a gore nest fight for whatever reason, and that has made routing this level in 100% a big challenge. All Secrets, I think, has the worst of it, though. Their route for this level is... It's a big old pile of Monka S.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have to do this fight. Oh, you can actually skip out of this fight using, again, unrestricted tech, but can't do that, so...
Yeah, there's a lot in when Dangerous is saying unrestricted tech. About half the time, he's referring to a paperclip, which I'm not sure. Will we be showing that during the glitch expedition?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to start with that.
All right. You know what? I'll just leave that be then. I was going to explain it, but I think we'll just leave it.
All right. So this is Berserk. Now we grabbed this in level 2, but we didn't get to use it at all. This is... Yeah, I could just kind of run up to the demons and press left click, and they just get removed from the play area. It's actually kind of hilarious. And there are upgrades that you can get that we skipped in this category because they take a while to get, but you could basically, it makes the glory kills go twice as fast. And so just imagine you're getting teleported around the arena doing these ridiculously fast animations. It's pretty hilarious. Now, I'm actually getting really lucky. All the shield guys are grouping up for me. If you get to the end of the fight and it hasn't cycled yet, and there's an enemy left alive, in this fight, it's a shield guy. It's a shield guy. Luckily, they all grouped up.
Not an imp?
Sometimes it's an imp, but usually it's a shield guy. It's this and the last fight in this level. Luckily, they all grouped up for me really nice. They never do that in PB attempts. They decided to wait until a marathon to do it for some reason. But yeah, so this is Dr. Sammy Hayden. We can skip this guy's cutscene right here in Unrestricted, and I'm going to show you that skip, but in Legacy, we have to watch it, unfortunately. So we have to sit through a bit of a cutscene now because of that. Luckily, I can actually... So during the fight, something really funny happened. I went to go saw open a Mancubus, and an imp pulled a "Get down, Mr. President," and took the chainsaw from me, so I had to kill him the hard way. That usually happens with, like, rockets. Not with chainsaw. That was a very weird thing. I'm not going to say it's never happened before, but it is pretty rare. We haven't had a classic marathon moment of that's never happened before yet. We might have one by the end.
Oh,
we might have one by the end of the run though, because you know, this game being what it is, we will literally have an emote that says "Cuz
with
Doom."
the wild cards this game has. "Cuz Doom," exactly.
So we just have to wait here. Now, one thing that
do you mind if I read something
I was going to say real quick. Notice that Sammy has a desk here. Notice how his knees are higher than the desk. So my question is, how does he sit at the desk with his knees higher? Logic in video games.
Question.
Yeah, Meta, go ahead and read your thing.
Absolutely, yeah. We don't have any new donations, but I would like to change that. And so I would like to read something a little bit about Haven House. Haven House Children's Hospice cares for seriously ill babies and children up to the age of 18 by creating a loving and warm environment for them and their families while they go through the toughest of times. No family should have to face alone the difficulties of looking after a child with a serious illness. Although we cannot change their diagnosis, Haven House's specialist care team are here to provide support to parents and carers who have children with complex medical needs. Many of our children need 24-hour care and supervision. We are a lifeline for these families, supporting them through their child's illness, and Haven House is here for the whole family, including moms, dads, brothers, sisters, and grandparents. So please donate for Haven House. It is a great cause.
And you were doing your little spiel there. I had Sam say the thing.
The thing?
Save your ammunition. Yeah, fun fact, if you shoot Sam, he just shrugs off your shot and he says, "Save your ammunition." So it's become a bit of a joke around the community. Now this section is actually in the middle of being rerouted. I'm going to do the old route. We're still trying to figure out if the new route is faster. But the old route is it's just pretty linear like this. We're just going to skip a fight by climbing out of bounds. Oh, I made a mistake. No, no.
It happens.
I can save this.
I will be very impressed.
Be impressed. I saved it. Let's go.
Very nice. Yeah, that's. I've been there before.
I almost did, but I was like, I'm gonna go for it.
I can't get out of here. I'm just gonna reload.
So we skipped the fight. We skipped the chasm sequence, which has you do some interesting platforming. Now we have to run around this circle. Please die, sir. Get all these demons dead before we can go get the big fluffy gun.
The internal name for it.
That was what they called it in development, I think. I'm pretty sure. I have no idea. I'm guessing. All right, so in order to get there, we need the help of a very good man. Very good man. You, sir. You look like a very good man. Sir. You look like a very good man. Well, most of one, anyway. So if you play Doom VFR, that's actually the guy you play in Doom VFR. Now, there's a cutscene.
Yeah, Dr.
Peters.
Peter?
There's
Yes.
a cutscene here that if we run in there, we have to watch. But if I goofed. Okay, hold on. We're gonna try that again. I gotta show this off. There's a cutscene that you have to watch, and then a puzzle. There's not a lot of puzzles in this game, but this is one of the places where they added one. However, we could skip it. And in an Ultra Nightmare, you have one chance to do this, and if you screw it up, you're watching the cutscene. This is actually kind of hard to line up, so let me... Okay, yeah, this... This is one of those skips that I'll either get once, like on the first try, or the 50th try. There is no like third or fourth try for this. Yeah, see,
this is stupid difficult.
it's also registering my inputs in the wrong order for some reason, and I'm not totally sure why. It's registering my jump after the fire. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. It sometimes happens where the game will just like it'll chew on an input for a little while before it actually registers it. I think I'm far enough.
So fun fact about this skip in particular. So I mentioned earlier about how there are categories for this game that are played on the Ultra Nightmare difficulty, which is permadeath. And if you mess up this trick in an Ultra Nightmare category, either A, you cannot try it again, and you just have to like wait through the cutscene, or B, the worst case scenario, you fall to your death and have to restart the entire run, which can be like, you know, an hour or an hour and a half, depending on where you're at. But it is heartbreaking. I've been there.
Giving me trouble. Fun. I had a practice run where I got this like 30th try, and then I had one right after that I got a like first try. There's something like blocking me on the floor. It's just driving me nuts. We're gonna get it. We're gonna have a pop off moment when it happens. Why is it? It's not registering my jump. So weird. There's like one of the things that's kind of weird about the engine in this game is that there's like any little pixel sized bumps on the floor will interrupt your movement. So you'll see me jumping a lot, and that's mostly, it's not because I get a speed increase, it's that I prevent a speed decrease by just getting like bonked by the ground. Oh, that one looked good. I don't know why that didn't work. That looked like it was gonna work. This one is very tricky. There we go. Now we got it. You have to do that jump and get in there and grab, like before the force field comes up. If you are a little bit slow in doing that, that happens. Now they expect you to use the BFG in this room. However, they could just one bullet and clear everything out, which is much easier, and it saves the ammunition. And fun fact, you can actually skip doing this whole cutscene entirely, and do that same amount of bounce from earlier to get into the end of the level, but it is slightly slower to do that. That's actually one of the things that we're working on with regard to routing. How we might have a route change coming up in the future. Now this Revenant is very difficult to kill. Oh, he's dead. Okay. He just walks right into your chainsaw. Now I'm going to upgrade the siege mode effect. So this is now what we call this the delete button. So you'll notice I'm waiting for like a Hell Knight to come by. Some of you probably in your casual playthroughs of this struggled with Hell Knights. And I could just remove them like that. Very, very easily. So you jump down here. Thank you.
So Dane, when you're using the siege mode, I noticed that there's like no wind up.
I'm cheating.
What's up with
that? So basically what is going on here is we're doing yet another animation cancel. And we've termed this in the community, we call it the DKSMS, which stands for Dreamer King Siege Mode Shot. Give me 1 second, I'm going to time that out.
It can also be called the instant siege mode, but the reason it's primarily referred to as the DKSMS or the Dreamer King siege mode shot is because while Dreamer King wasn't the first person to discover it, as multiple people had like posted on YouTube and stuff like that, Dreamer King, who I don't believe is actually a speedrunner themselves, was the first person to bring it to the speedrunning community. And so to honor them, we named it after them.
Yeah, and do not be fooled. That doesn't look like a major glitch. That's a major glitch. This is a major glitch, but it is executable on console, so we allowed it.
Yeah, and it saves a lot of time, at least in the more
in 100%. That saves 5 minutes at least, probably more, to be completely honest with you, because you're not charging it up, and charging it up takes a while. So yeah, we are down to the final 5. We've cleared out most of the game at this point. It's and what's funny is, like, Lazarus Labs is one of those levels that's there's not a lot that you can skip. As long as the spot's not locked down, you can pretty much walk through it. There are a couple of skips that we'll do, but this level's pretty tightly wound. And then when we get back to Hell in the next 2 levels, we're going to not see most of those 2 levels. We're going to be skipping most of them. But yeah, we are coming up in the final stretch of the run at this point, in the final 5.
Yeah, and so expanding upon, the siege mode shot. So now that we have that mod and we're able to do instant siege mode or the DKSMS, we've fully completed, or at least as far as we can in this category, what we call the alpha rotation.
So the alpha rotation refers to the alpha weapons, the rocket launcher, super shotgun, and the Gauss cannon. And what we do in order to maximize our damage output. 1 second. Okay, that was supposed to be a fight, but if you do that jump fast enough, you can actually skip that whole fight. So we skipped an entire fight. That's one of 2 skips we're going to end up doing in this level. Getting back to the alpha rotation. Basically, in order to maximize our damage output, we're going to fire a weapon. And you've been seeing me do this throughout combat, throughout the whole run, where I'll fire a weapon and then immediately switch to another weapon. And that eliminates the need to sit through any kind of reload animation, cooldown, or whatnot. And we can just go straight from firing one weapon to firing the next one. And that allows us to remove demons from the play area very, very quickly.
Yeah, especially once we have a fully upgraded kit, which won't exactly happen. We'll get most of the way there in this category, but especially in the 100% category.
Yeah, we're missing the key thing for it, unfortunately.
You can basically fire non-stop because your cooldowns for every weapon, it's just happening in the background while you're firing your other weapons. And so you just are a constant output of damage, and it is wild. Definitely not the intended way to play, but boy, is it fun.
So this is a fight we actually have to play. Luckily, they give us this nifty little power-up right here that does we call it quad damage because it does 4 times the amount of damage as normal. So I can kind of just remove stuff pretty easily. Some of these guys that normally take a bunch more ammunition to take out, they just sort of disappear. Now, a question for you, Abby. Since you said you're not a gamer, you haven't played this game or anything like that. Are you tempted to potentially play it after having watched it?
It's fascinating. I mean, I wouldn't know the first thing to do, so I'd have to watch somebody just teach me how to play. But yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to see the world. I don't get to see all the other pieces of it, and
it's very simple. You just point at the heads and click.
I mean, it's
just click it, click on their heads
and shoot them.
Yeah, point and click.
So I have to go out of my way for this ammo box, which is like a 3-second time loss, but it allows us to skip this room. Now, ordinarily, you wouldn't be able to skip this room because you can't push buttons through walls. However, if we shoot that panel with the Gauss cannon, we can knock the panel off. You don't need to actually knock that panel off. You can push the panel through the button. However, we decided as a community that you had to shoot the panel off for rule consistency, even though it's totally dumb to do that.
I'll say that's on me. That's what, that's something I put in there. You know what? It's okay. It's fine. But yeah, because that's kind of one of the, I guess, sacrifices or compromises you have to make when you're making a category that has restrictions. You kind of have to put down your restrictions in such a way that they're specific enough that there's no loopholes. And when you create specific rules like that, you need to sort of have some silly stuff like that, because otherwise, if we allowed pressing buttons through walls, you would chop off multiple minutes. You could skip the first combat arena. You could skip. You could actually press a button through a wall at the beginning of this level and just get out of bounds and go to the next token, which would chop off minutes, and you would be out of bounds. So, in order to lean more towards the spirit of the category, sacrifices must be made. But hey, you know what? to shoot a panel and to press a button and to just walk past a fight.
Did you know you could play Bejeweled in Doom? Isn't this interesting? Believe it or not, that's actually a required challenge for 100%. You have to actually play that game. Now, in that category, because it's a speed run, we literally just open the computer and turn it back off. But yeah, it's like one of those weird things where the challenge says play a game in Olivia's office, and all you have to do is literally just interact, escape out of it, and you can move on. But that was always a funny Easter egg to put in there. And now we have to sit through another cutscene. And by the way, you should also take note of like all these times you've seen like these kind of flashbacks or side flashes, I guess they'd be called, where you see hell and fire and like all this stuff. Remember that, because when we get to the glitch showcase, I'm going to show you really funny where that doesn't play out properly, and it's a really funny cutscene to watch. Things break pretty easily. But yeah, at this point we have to kind of just sit here and wait for this whole cutscene to play out. This is one of those spots in the run, when you if you're doing PB attempts where you would like go to the bathroom or go refill your water. Things like that, because you're just kind of sitting here waiting for this all finish up.
We do have a question in the chat from FTLG organizer Corey. Abby, how did you get into voice acting?
Well, it was an offshoot of just being an actor and pursuing my career in LA, and someone was like, "You have a good voice, you should do that." And of course, it took me like 10 years to really break into it. But yeah, it's a part of the acting world that is really fun and interesting and lucrative when you can get in there. And it just kept developing. It was like that's sort of where my career opened up. So I kind of did every aspect of voiceover that I could, and games was a big part of it. It still is. So yeah, I came out here to act. That's how it happened. Yeah.
Are you still into like acting, or are you primarily like voice acting?
I'm primarily voice acting. I was a part of a theater company up until like even this last year, but with COVID and everything, live theater has kind of stopped. And I did a film last year, an independent film, but I really enjoy voiceover. It's a really cool part of acting, and it's veered toward that more than anything else. So I sort of call myself a voice actor now, or voice artist.
Right.
Yeah, notice a lot of voice actors like kind of just they either voice act, or they do like stage plays, or they do. I'm actually doing 100% routing right now because I'm trying to ask this question while I play the game. I noticed a lot of them like stick to one camp or the other. Are you planning to stick primarily to voice acting, or are you like interested in going back into like film and TV once that like ramps back up, all the way?
Yeah, I think probably for most actors, wherever the work is, that's where your career goes. I think it's like if we all had choices, we'd be like, yeah, I want to do another movie and I want to do this. But it's like where you start to build a name for yourself and the opportunities come, that's probably where your career opens up and where you stick to. I kind of do, sometimes people do one kind of voiceover. I do lots of different kinds of voice stuff. I do audiobooks, I do games, I do commercials, I do looping on film and TV, kind of post-production sound stuff. So it's I'm open to doing everything. It's really fun, the variety that you get to do as an actor. But if the work is in voiceover, that's where the work is. All
right, so this is the last big skip of the level, and this one's actually really tough. So give me a second to focus. This is going to skip a very long fight at the end, by the way, of this level. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite like medium that you've worked, you've done voice work on, like games or movies, or do you just prefer the variety?
I kind of like the variety, because when I do like one thing for too long, I like shaking it up. I love do an audiobook, and then I get to go to a video game session, and then I get to go work on a film and do voice work, on a film. It's really fun to do every kind of way I can use my voice. I find really interesting, challenging.
Well, you know what they say, variety is the spice of life.
He's actually making a call out to something in this game. There's one of the optional challenges is called "Variety is the Spice of Death," and it's actually you get it in a few different levels. So he's making a call back to that. Very nice, Meta. Thank you.
My pleasure. Corey is also asking, have you got someone that inspired you the most in the acting world?
Well, I do like Tilda Swinton, so it's kind of cool that her voice was.
It's funny that you say that because we
Olivia,
joke constantly that Olivia is basically Tilda Swinton. And like if they ever did a live action version of this game, it would be Tilda Swinton playing Olivia Pierce. 100%.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think there's anyone else.
I feel like they literally took her likeness and just shoved it on Olivia's face. Like it's too uncanny. Yeah, but wait. Oh,
I
go
agree.
ahead.
I agree, and what
were we gonna say?
Yeah, I agree, and I think Kate Blanchett. I've done a lot of voice matching stuff for like for those people because they sometimes won't go back to do pickups on things I've done, so you get to kind of do sort of sound alike stuff. So I really admire both of those women. Are amazing actresses. And a huge influence. Meryl Streep, of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you've heard the quality of my impressions. This is definitely not an area of my expertise. Voice matching, that's incredible. I don't think I could do that in a million years.
Yeah, well, sometimes celebrities are away on a shoot somewhere and they can't do can't do some pickups, for something they did, and they have to find somebody who sounds exactly like them and fix it, if they're not available. So one of the other strange parts of voiceover.
All right, can we get Pinky Boost? Nope.
So a little explanation. No, that's too bad. A little explanation about what Pinky Boost actually is. If you're not aware, there's an enemy in this game called a Pinky, and he just charges at you, and he's pink, so that's why he's named as he is. But basically, you can jump on his back as he's charging at you, and you just kind of go boop like a little Mario, and you can actually jump out of bounds with that and save a Gauss shot. And the out of bounds trick that Pinky Boost allows for, I guess in any percent, it would probably save about 6 minutes. You can go from the start of the level pretty much to the very end. So
now this is it's not a paperclip. We have decided that this is not a paperclip. Unfortunately, it's giving me a little bit of trouble. This is not usually this hard. There we go. Oh god. Okay, there we go.
Would you say that's never happened before?
This isn't like a weird thing that's happened. It's just a difficult thing to do. So we're gonna kind of wiggle our way inbounds. Now, some of you might call this a paperclip, and you would be right. However, it's not a paperclip. Don't call it a paperclip, even though it's totally a paperclip. Let's be honest here. It was one of those things that we decided we were going to allow that one for two reasons. Number one, the planes that you are actually wiggling through don't completely intersect, so technically it's not a paperclip. By technical definition, it's not, but also if we disallowed that, this level would be 4 minutes longer. That skip saves about 4 minutes for this particular level. Shoutouts to Whitehound for finding that, because that skip was giving me trouble to figure out. I am in the wrong spot. Why can I not get down there? There we go. And that is all you're going to see of Titan's Realm, at least for now. You'll see more of it in the Glitch exhibition.
Davos Network is asking, out of all the games that you voice acted for, Abby, do you have a favorite, and have you played any of them?
I wish I played them. Let's see. Well, I think recently I got to work on Call of Duty Vanguard, and played Belikar, the warlock, and that was really fun because the director let me create the character. He was really gave the actors a lot of freedom. Oftentimes, you're trying to fit yourself into the character they've developed, but he was really interested in us developing our characters kind of through us. So that's been fun to work on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, much more creative than just trying to match what someone's got in their mind. Like, well, what would you do? How would you make it sound? So that was really neat to get to do that.
Have you worked on a lot of projects like that where there's that kind of freedom, or?
No, often there's not. No, that was like probably the most freedom that I've had. Yeah, working on something. Although I will say when I worked on Darksiders, we had to kind of develop the voice because of all the different women. So we all had to sound kind of different. And we listened to some of the other characters to try to contrast them, you know. So I probably developed that voice too. So that was one where they had me give more input in the character, you know, and then just auditioning and being cast for whatever that they had said they were looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
One BFG to delete them all. Oh, except for one Cacodemon. Meta, how are we doing on the total? We have to hit 3,200 for the helmet going into Argentinur.
Yeah, so we are still 150 pounds away from that goal. So if you guys would like to see Danejerus wearing the Doomslayer's helmet, please get your donations in. Remember that this is for a fantastic cause. Dane, if you've got
absolutely.
a moment,
While I dispatch of a couple of Hell Guards, you can tell us all about that.
Awesome. Haven House offers a range of support to meet the well-being needs of individuals and families. This includes social opportunities for families to come together and meet others, for example, at sibling activities and coffee mornings. Haven House also offers a 24-hour advice line, emotional and practical support, dad's group meetups, family days, and bereavement support. This charity is fantastic, guys. Please bring in your donations. And, of course, you get to see Danejerus wear the Doomslayer's helmet. How awesome is that?
I actually got this guy in a 2-cycle. I never get this guy in a 2-cycle. I got super lucky. It's usually a 3-cycle. Ooh, Corey asked a very good question in chat.
Corey is asking, would you consider yourself an imaginative person? Example, if a producer allowed for you to make up things on the spot, I guess that's kind of like what Vanguard was like. How do you think it would go?
I would love that. It's really when you get the ability to be free and just play and find it that way, that's awesome. So yeah, I think I am an imaginative person. I kind of know my sweet spot with my voice, or I know like where it can go. You know, sometimes you find new things. You're like, well, I never knew I could sound like that. You know, so it's fun. It's fun when you discover, you know, a new character. Yeah. So yeah.
We've got another one from Tig Dwan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologize if not. Have you ever worked with someone who was able to do a spot-on impersonation of you? I guess in the voice acting world, that is possible. Has it ever happened?
Oh, no. But I have had people think I was Claudia Black. And, like, I've seen, like, I've heard that before. But I don't think I sound like her. I know. No, but that'd be really cool. I would like to hear someone do an impression of me. Interesting. Let's hear it.
Olivia Pierce, Alpha 402.
I like
Close.
It.
That was a gold split, by the way.
Very good. Very good. Yes.
I was like, another gold split. Yeah.
Another gold split. Are you on personal
for
best
Necropolis?
pace?
Yeah. I think it's because I got the 2-cycle on the Hell Guards, the first phase.
I like doing AI voices. For some reason, I do them easily.
Interesting.
I'm not sure why.
What have you worked on projects where you did an AI voice?
I did the film Upgrade, the Lee Winnell film. I did the voice.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, so I got to do that and the AI voice in the house and the car. Yeah, that's neat.
Oh, I'm totally gonna go watch that later.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Yes, so it's fun. There's something about that. Yeah. Probably have done it another time, something else, but that's the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, the chat is. I don't know if you have the chat open, so I'm just kind of reading things out. But the chat is agreeing with me that that movie is awesome. So
Yeah, it was fun to work on. I got to work with Lee when he was there for all the sessions, so it was really neat. Really nice guy.
Oh, shoot. No. Oh, no. All right, we'll deal with them in a minute. I was trying to get those revenants out of the way so I could cycle this fight a little faster, but I'm not very fast, apparently. Excuse me, sir. Gonna need you to stop.
So Korazy is asking, what did you do in Ready Player One? And how was it?
Well, I did group voice work in Ready Player One. So I do something called looping. I'm a loop group, and we go into films and we do like all the big group scenes. Sometimes we do individual stuff, but in that movie in particular, I think it was all kind of group work. It wasn't any individual stuff. So
for group work, so you basically have a group of people, like for crowds and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's everything. No, you're correct. It's like the sound palette that exists in a movie, like when the principal actor walks into a restaurant or bar and you hear the hubbub in the restaurant. We do that kind of stuff. Or there's a newscaster on the TV in the corner. We do the newscasters. We fill in the sound palette that basically brings the movie into like more, feels more real or more filled in. If you took it away, it would sound really strange and empty. So we go in as a group and we do that. Yeah.
Honestly, I never even really just thought about it because it's so natural. It's just like it immerses you in the world. And I guess that's kind of the purpose is if it's working correctly, you won't notice it.
That's right. You blend in. You have to blend in. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Unless you're replacing someone's performance, and dubbing something in, or you're doing something, like a newscaster where you can hear it in the background of a bar or restaurant, something like that.
Yeah.
A phone call,
I guess thinking about it, I've never really thought about it, but I suppose I just thought it was like stock.
But see, I thought it was stock too. That's actually really interesting to hear that this is like all done a la carte for each production.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And we do research. We have to do research of like Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever it is, and have the right language. So when we improvise it, it will fit the world. Or if it's a period movie, you have to have the right language. Yeah, it's a whole thing, a whole part of the voiceover. Yeah.
It's funny. This reminds me. This isn't.
Real quick thing. Everybody, remember this part. Remember this part when we get to the glitch exhibition, because I'm going to show you something really special with this little section of where we run up these rails. Meta knows what I'm talking about. Okay, sorry. I just needed to get that in there real quick. What were you going to say?
I do.
Yeah.
No. That was definitely important. So if you've ever seen the movie Guns Akimbo, I won't spoil anything for it, but there is a bar scene, and this is you reminded me of this. In the bar scene on the TVs, they have a Doom speedrun, an any percent speedrun by one of our community members, Seeker. And it's just playing on the TV as like a background video on a TV in the bar. And when I saw that, I nearly pooped my pants because I was like, "What?" So that was wild. Guns Akimbo in the bar. Check it out if you want to see a Doom speedrun in like a AAA film.
That was so weird because they clearly went to somebody on the set design and they said, "We need something on the screen. Let's get a video game up there." And they went and just typed in Doom gameplay and they grabbed the first link they could find. And we put it on the screen. It's so weird and random. I actually totally forgot about that until you brought it up just now.
Yeah, I did too. I remembered when you said bar. I was like, no way. Korazy's saying, funnily enough, we have copies of XCOM 2 as a giveaway item.
Real quick, did we hit the incentive?
Game, Abby?
We did not? Okay. That's fine. That just means that I can show off the chasm skip instead. This thing is a miserable nightmare, and I'm already screwing it up. So that's perfect. Okay, go ahead and ask the question now while I'm trying to do this.
Yeah.
Did you work on XCOM 2?
I did. I don't think it was very specific to character. Is it a what is it an army game?
It's like a real-time strategy it's military. I'll be honest, I haven't played one myself, but
I do remember working on it. It was really hard. You just bark out orders. It was a military game. Yeah, I do remember working on it. It was a long day. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
How long are you in the studio for, like, at one time? Because you said you did all of Doom in like 3 sessions, right?
Yeah, they have us at there's a union contract, and they get you for a certain amount of time. I believe it's 4 hours per session. They don't have to use all of that, but that's the most time they can have you. Especially if it's vocally stressful, they have to make sure that they have a limited amount of time. So they have to rehire you again if they need more work after that. Yeah.
Well, I could sympathize, because, I mean, I'm not even really doing voice acting. I'm just here reading donations and talking. But after 2 hours, I'm like, damn, I think I'm almost done. But yeah, my shift will be ending after this game here, and we'll be joined by, I don't have the list on me, but I'm sure they'll be amazing. And by the way, so Danejerus is attempting chasm skip right now, which if you haven't known, he's doing like 5 jumps up to get to like a little peak, and then you do 1 jump to get across a little area, and then you do a final jump to get across the chasm, and it is incredibly difficult. I've done this before. Fun fact: a few years ago, I randomly decided one night to change my key bindings from WASD, which is like the default, to ESDF for whatever reason.
Meta, you got something. You got something in the queue.
I was doing this in the queue. Oh, we do. Anonymous has donated 150 pounds, leaving no message, and that does in fact bring us over the incentive. I believe we are going to get to see Danejerus's luscious locks inside of the Doomslayer
Anonymous,
helmet.
thank you for sparing me from chasm skip.
Here we go. I'm very, very ready for this. I'm very jealous of this helmet, by the way. I want one. And so are you going to do the rest of the run in that helmet? By the way, you could, like, not see anything in that helmet. Oh, right, yeah, Doomguy doesn't talk. So there's that. I forgot about that. But yeah, thank you, everyone, for bringing us over the 3,200-pound goal. Thank you very much. Especially to Anonymous for taking us over the edge there. So, Abby, I asked you earlier, but now we're coming in towards the end of the run here. Do you have any questions about, speed running or video games or, Doom, anything of the sorts?
Well, I'm assuming that Danejerus is like amazing at this, so I'm not watching how you normally would play this game. Probably would take me hours and hours. Yeah. I don't know. It's like it's really interesting to watch it from this perspective. It's so totally different from when I come in to do them, So
yeah, I think it's sort of a niche within a niche, especially coming from your perspective, having not played the game at all. Speedrunning is a niche community within Doom, who is playing the game fast. Not everyone plays this way, obviously.
What is speedrunning? What does it mean? Does it mean to tell me what that means?
Yeah, so basically, you just complete the game as fast as you can. There's a lot of intricacies, but the TLDR is that you complete the game as fast as you can. Yeah, and so sometimes you can have different rule sets or anything like that. There's usually a category that's like you start the game and then you just reach the credits as fast as you can. This category that Danejerus is running, you have to collect a lot of the tokens that are throughout the game. So it's just like an additional restriction. And then, of course, you still have to beat the game as fast as you can. So usually speedrunners would submit to leaderboards, and then they compare times with each other. So it's like
it's competitive. Interesting.
Yeah. So you take this single-player experience and you sort of extend it into like a multiplayer one where you get to compete on a leaderboard.
Got it.
So I think we have a new viewer in the chat who is asking, will Abby give us an Olivia Pierce voice before leaving? I do recommend you check out the VOD, but would you be able to give us perhaps another sample?
Another sample? Oh, I don't know if I have any more for our, let's see. Let's see. My sisters and brothers, be thankful. You will be the first. You will have a seat alongside them, just as I will, in what will become the new world that they create for us, starting now. There you go.
Nice.
Yes.
Corey
I could do my being burned in a fiery pit of hell, screaming no.
You can if you want. I'm more than open to it.
I'm not going to do it. No, I would blast your ears out. No.
Corey's also saying, this is asking quite a bit. Can you make up fresh lines as Livia?
Can I make up fresh lines? What kind of lines would you like me to make up? Would you like me to discuss creating a recipe for dinner, or killing people, or creating a new laboratory where I'm going to resurrect myself from the dead? I see that I'm dead, so that could be my lines.
I have a few lines for you. Can you say like separately? Can we say losing time, gaining time? Nice, very nice, Dane. I had to pause. Gaining time, losing time, failed run, and go.
Okay. Losing time, gaining time, failed run, go.
Nice. You're adding that to your live split, aren't you?
Okay,
so welcome.
Absolutely, I am. Thank you very much. And Dane,
thank you.
Great job coming in 15 minutes under the estimate.
That was due in part to we are showing off the glitch exhibition as well. So yeah. So that was Redguard Legacy. There's also a Redguard Classic category, which is about half the length of this one because it's totally unrestricted. But this was a my live split my live split time came in at a 1:21:06, which is pretty abysmal considering my PB is a 1:13, I think, right now.
Hey, it happens. It happens. But thank you to everyone who donated during the run. Remember, the Haven House is a fantastic charity, so it's very much appreciated. Especially big shout out to Anonymous, who pushed us over that incentive goal.
Thank you to Anonymous, big time.
Thank you very much.
We do have to do a final check, so this is a collection category, so we have to do the check to make sure we got everything. Otherwise, this run is invalid. Not that it would be very valid to begin with. So you're looking at the Elite Guard section of each screen right here. So this little section, you're looking for this symbol to be lit up in white. It'll be grayed out like this if I did not collect the tokens. So we got it here. We got all 3 in Resource Ops, all 3 in Foundry, all 4 in Argent Facility, all 3 in Argent Tower, all 4 in Cadanger Sanctum, all 4 in Facility Destroyed, all 3 in Arc, all 4 in Lazarus Labs, both in Titan's Realm, both in Necropolis, and all 3 in Vega. So this is a completed Redguard run. But we're not done yet because we have to show off some glitches. We have to show off some glitches.
Right. Yeah, that incentive that we met within 6 hours of the run, 6 hours of the event starting.
Yeah. Okay, I have to get the trainer open for this because this is going to involve a lot of stuff. So, and then I have, oops, that's not the window that I need. So I wrote down what I want to show off kind of in order. So the very first thing I'm going to show off is, there we go. So the very first thing I want to show off is, so you remember there was that cutscene in level 2 that was like super long, and in legacy categories, we have to sit through the whole thing. Wouldn't it be cool if we could skip that entirely? Wouldn't that be nice? That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be pretty neat.
I already have this unlocked on the save file. So basically, when we're doing 100% or we're doing any sort of category where we're allowed to skip it, we'd come in here, and instead of going in here and watching that cutscene, we come over here. We're going to stare at this this corner, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle back and forth a little bit. This is actually one of the harder ones. So we're actually technically we're in the wall right now, and you're going to see that once I start scrolling while moving forward. So I'm halfway in the wall right now. I'm actually not quite in the right spot. So we are now in an out of bounds area. I'm going to line up pretty precisely here, jump, hit forward, and we just got through the wall. That door is locked, by the way. That door is completely locked, but we were able to phase through the wall, through the corner, and get out of bounds this way. This is one of many ways that this game is pretty broken. I'm also going to show you another one. This is, some people are going to disagree with me on this. I say it's the hardest. I say it's the hardest one. Some people are going to disagree with me about this, but this skips yet another cutscene. So you remember in the Advanced Research Complex, we had that long segment where we're standing on Sam's desk and pointing out the logical flaws in his knee height with his desk. What if we could skip that? Well, for like 3 years, I wanted to. I was looking for a way to skip that cutscene up there, and I went to a community member, Seeker, and he had the game booted open one day, and he was just screwing around looking for stuff. And I said, "Hey, Seeker, find a way to skip Sam's office." About 15 minutes later, he came back with office skip. It took him 15 minutes to find what I couldn't find in 3 years. Basically, you line up very precisely. Yep. This is actually extremely precise.
Yeah, Seeker is pretty aptly named because
somebody one time asked, when is Seeker going to change his name to Finder? So this is, oh, and we're in. Actually got that pretty quickly.
Yeah, I haven't learned of this one. It looks like...
And we're out of bounds. All you got to do is just wiggle against the wall. That one's super tight. That's probably why it took so long to find, because I remember when Dylon was supposed to be on our couch today, but he was indisposed with the scheduling thing that actually like took him out of town. So he wasn't able to come sit on the couch. We miss you, Dy. But there was one day he jumped into that arena. He just started pushing his face against every wall, and he could not find it. And then Seeker, true to his name, he just manages to find it in one fell swoop. The guy's a madman. So let me go back to the main menu. I'm going to load up another one. So this is a fun fact. A lot of people actually don't know this. The combat design of this game actually used to include reloading. There was actually a reload kind of function, and they even coded animations for it. They ended up removing that as part of like the development of the combat system got refined. They realized, we need to take loading out of it. Reloading just kind of messes up the flow of combat, but they left the animation in the code, and you can actually see it. So this is actually extremely tight timing, so I'm going to try to get this as best I can. Here we go. All right, so Doom Guy's going to put some shells back into his shotgun, and he's okay. I think, okay, Slayer, I think you're good. I think you've got enough shells in there, dude. Slayer. Stop putting the shells in the shotgun, man. So yeah, he'll literally do this forever. It's actually like a completely broken soft lock mechanic, and you could actually break out of it by just switching weapons. But it's really funny that he just infinitely will reload his shotgun. You could do this with other weapons too, but it doesn't do anything quite as funny for some of the other ones. Let me see if I can. Nope, that is not the right one. There you go. Yeah, he'll like put another clip in that one. Put another clip in that one. I think that one actually uses the same exact animation, and it just like looks different on each weapon. You can also do it where you can put shotgun shells into your rocket launcher. I don't quite know why that one was programmed here, but yeah, right now he's putting shotgun shells into his rocket launcher. Perfect sense. One of my favorites is this one. Because you can literally see inside of the gun as the animation plays out, which I just think is the funniest oversight. Like he pulls the thing up and you can see into the weapon. I just thought that was really funny. So that's one of the funnier glitches. Now, if you remember, I talked about very early on. Oops, my history program is messed up. Talked about very early on in the run how there's some there's like those flashbacks or side flashes where you see like hell and fire and brimstone and blah blah blah. And one of them played out at the very, very beginning of the run when we grabbed the suit. But then that does raise another question. What happens if we grab the suit while also already wearing the suit? So you can do this actually entirely glitchless, and you can get back to this first area. The problem is it takes forever because the camera is super slow. So I'm going to actually use the trainer for this instead. Oh, come on. Cooperate. There we go. So right now we... Okay. It took the whole marathon... Or the whole run, but we actually have a "that's never happened before" moment. The suit is supposed to be here, and it's not. I loaded this up last night to double check, and it was here, and now it's not here. I don't know what happened, but that's wrong.
Well, hey, you know what? Still a glitch exhibition. Not an intended one, but...
I don't know how it's so funny. Oh, okay, anyways. So I'll show you off another one. So, oh, actually, I want to show off the BFG glitch first before I show off... someone took it. Yeah, exactly. I want to show off the BFG glitch before we get to what my favorite glitch tech in the run. So... some of you will remember how we fought the Cyber Demon, and we did skip the second phase by just kind of jumping over him. But, you know, if you know anything about me, I'm pretty indecisive. I don't always know what weapon I want to use, so I'm going to fire a BFG. Whoops, I totally did that wrong. I'm going to fire a BFG, and then I'm going to open the weapon wheel to kind of choose which weapon I want to use. Because I'm so indecisive, I can never make a choice right away. So I'm going to fire the BFG, and then we'll open the weapon wheel. And let's see, I could choose the chain gun, oh, he's dead. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one because that doesn't work on console. That only works on PC. And yeah, fun fact, he'll actually come out of this animation.
It sort of works
on console, but not really.
So basically, yeah, the way that trick actually works. So it's not the BFG ball itself or the projectile. It's the tendril that we're abusing. That tendril that connects the ball to the enemy does damage per frame, not per tick, per frame. And so if your frame rate is higher, like it is on PC compared to console, you do that much more damage. And if you open up the weapon wheel, which slows down time, it's still doing damage per frame. It doesn't take into account that the time has been slowed down. So you just pop a BFG, and you slow down time, and the boss is just dead.
Yep. It is a really funny glitch, and it was something that's banned in Legacy. You're not allowed to open the weapon wheel while there is a BFG projectile active in the play area, specifically to avoid that, because it wouldn't be super fair to console runners if we allowed that in Legacy, and that was one of the things with the Legacy rule set, was we wanted to make something that was a little friendlier to console runners. But now we're going to show off my favorite tech. So there's a billion examples of this. I'm going to show you my favorite three. This first one's called Pebbles. So basically, I'm going to just kind of line up right here on this spot on the ground, aim at this rock, and then I'm going to jump into the rock, and I'm going to turn... Oh, darn it. It didn't work. Yeah, sometimes this one can be actually pretty finicky. Let me try actually doing the buffered setup to... because the buffer setup's a lot more consistent. And it's been so long since I've done it, I actually don't quite remember how it works. All right, so I'm going to buffer. I'm going to jump into this rock and then just turn Doom Guy into an airplane. Just get him airborne, and we can fly around the level. And we do this a bunch of times in 100% to skip to different parts of the level. And it allows us to utilize what we call a hub, which basically means we can take one checkpoint and then kind of spider web our way out to all these different places in the level. It's a lot of fun. Now, one of my other favorites is what we call Tower Boost. Or at least I call it Tower Boost. Most everybody calls it Tower Boost. And this allows us to get... some stuff before we're allowed to have it normally in the game. So I'm going to come up here, going to kind of run up against this railing, stand here, and I didn't quite get enough height, but you can get the general idea of I'm just going to sort of fly very far up into the air, and I can skip the whole level. And in fact, this is what they do in any percent in order to skip the entire thing. They run up into this level, and there's like, I think 30 different setups for this particular boost. This one, ooh.
Yeah, and in any percent, that allows you to go from the start of the level to the final fight. And you can end this level in about, I think it's 2 minutes.
I think it's even less than
like
that.
A low 2 minutes.
Like a 140?
It's been a while since I've looked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did you explain like why or how rail boost
tech
work?
and explanation of rail boosting is actually very complicated, and it would be a little bit resident sleeper for a lot of you to try to explain it, because it's just it basically involves having a really high frame rate and a mechanic in the game called foot grabbing, which I'm not joking. That's actually what it's called. And those two things interacting together, they behave kind of weirdly together, and that's what allows us to just kind of fling ourselves really, really far and really, really fast. So this is my favorite one. This actually isn't even in my PB because it was only recently discovered. So I'm gonna lock a location here. Actually, basically, I'm going to line up. Where's my setup point? Here it is. So this is, I would say, probably one of the coolest new rail boosts in the game. It's also a little inconsistent, so we're gonna try our best. Actually, luckily I didn't die. I'm actually gonna enable God mode for this, so that way I don't have to do this a billion times. Oh no! Hold on, we're gonna get all the way up to the top. See, this is what I mean. It's a little inconsistent, but this one's really fun because he just kind of. This is why I said remember this part during the run, because you can skip this in Classic, but you can't do it in Legacy. Come on, game, cooperate with me. There we go. And that puts us right to the door. That is a beautiful sight. I popped off so hard the first time I got that, because that is just a really, really fun one. And then there's one more little glitch that I want to show off, which I think is very entertaining. Actually, my save for this didn't get saved, but that's fine. I can just trainer my way through this. So, and this isn't a glitch. This is just an Easter egg in the game, but a lot of people actually never found this in their casual playthrough, and had no idea. I need to clip through that for this to work. So there's a fight in Titan's Realm. We skipped we skipped almost this whole level by climbing out of bounds, but there's a fight that you do in here. So when you enter this arena, a bunch of demons spawn in, and then the gate that keeps that portal closed lowers. But if you come over here, by the way, quick question: does anybody have a birthday in chat? If you have a birthday in chat, put an emote down that lets us know it's your. Put a Feels Birthday Man in chat if it's your birthday.
I know we did have a birthday earlier, but I'm not sure if we have one anymore.
Feels not Birthday Man. Very nice. Yeah, a lot of people did not know that that this was here because it involves clipping through a little bit of like a texture model that doesn't actually have collision. And they put a cake in a balloon, and well, this gentleman's unfortunate situation. But yeah, this is one of those like Easter eggs that nobody remembers and nobody found in their first playthrough. But I always thought it was hilarious that there was just a random birthday cake in here. So yeah, Meta, were there any other glitches to show off, or I think we covered a pretty good number of them.
I think that's pretty good. But that was amazing. Thank you for that demonstration.
Quick shout outs I want to give. First of all, we have to give us a very big shout out and a very big thank you to Abby Creighton here for sitting on the couch and talking with us. It was an absolute pleasure getting to talk with you and getting to pick your brain a little bit about the process. And I'm so honored that I got to meet Dr. Olivia Pierce herself. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on the couch for the marathon. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank
you for inviting me. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's wicked. I was going to give a shout out to Mr. Meta here for last minute having to also couch the run in addition to hosting for it. Meta's been on the couch for many of my marathon runs in the past, both for this game and for other games that I've run as well. So and Meta is one of my good friends from here on in the speedrunning community. So I gotta give a special sappy shout out to Mr. Meta Live here for being my good close friend, and I always appreciate your support and the fact that you stick around and put up with my weirdness. So thank you for being my friend. Aww. And then I also got to give a big shout out to the whole Doom community. There are too many of you to name. I'm not even going to try and list them all because there's just too many of you, but you know who you are. Thank you all for being a part of this community, making it one of the best communities on Twitch. You always will have a friend in me. Thank you all for the community that you created. You are all the best. I got to give a shout out to all of my Twitch viewers that showed up and kind of popped off in chat during the run. Thank you all to my community for being here, and big shout outs to the FTLG organizers for making this whole thing happen and for raising money for such an amazing cause. Haven House is, I mean, it's raising money to support hospice care for young children. Literally, think of a more noble cause than that. I'll wait, but not very long because you can't. It's one of the most noble causes. So thank you to all of you that have donated your precious dollars toward making this marathon a success and for helping support such a noble cause. It really means a lot to me. So thank you all for that. And then, yeah, last little bit of plug. You can follow me at twitch.tv/danejerus if you want to come see my antics. I'm learning a couple new speed runs, and I'll be doing speedrun marathons of different games coming up soon. So if you want to tune in for that, that's happening in the future. You can also follow Mr. Meta Live here at twitch.tv/meta_live. Go follow this man. He sometimes streams. But even more than that, this man, he's humble about it and he won't brag about it. But this man is the community manager for speedrun.com. Quite a lofty position this man is in. So go give him a follow as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the run and enjoy the rest of the marathon for the next few hours.